Well, that took a second, didn't it? Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy, and you're on the boat. It's the middle of the night here in Bug Tussle. But I've been going over some stuff and got a few things I needed to do this morning. I never get a chance to see some of you because of when I go live. Nurse Nat, good to see you. How are you? Hey, Shelly Kelly. Lady, why are you up, Shelly Kelly? Lady Warrior, the nurse who loved me, Shelly Kelly. I appreciate you being here. It's a super mod. But it is the middle of the night. Why are you not asleep? Right? I think it's even more middle of the nighty where you're at. I hope you're all right. So listen, this is what we're going to do right now. This is one of those shows. It's going to be intimate because I popped on here way before I normally go live. I've been going over all of this stuff and putting things together. There are no exaggeration, a dozen Diddy projects in the works from some very large companies that are really tearing this up. Hey, Robin Bliss, good to see you. Hey, Haley, Cookie, Layla. Thank you very much. I appreciate the congratulations. Roberta, how are you? Hey, Yvette. Anderson Danish. Mrs. Anderson or Mr. Anderson. Tina, how are you? Neely Cross, how are you? Somebody said earlier, I got a comment left that said, I can't give you a like because you spend way too much time talking to your audience and doing what I'm doing now. And I wrote back and said, it's kind of odd. I can't seem to like you either. Delta Machine, and I don't mean that. If you happen to be the person who heard it, who I said that to, I'm just being a wise guy. But it is kind of about the audience here, man. We're all trying to live our best life, kind of thing, right? I'm a recovering heroin addict that spent 3 prison terms, and we talk about true crime. We talk about a lot of other stuff here. Hey, Cookie, but really, this is about people living their best life, and it's about connection being the opposite of everything that is screwing up this planet. So we highlight things that really bring that to the forefront, like Diddy, like what's going on with Voldemort. For those who don't know who that is, it's Beyonce's husband. But to this day, consistently, if I say the cat's name, especially in the first, say, 45 minutes of the show, I'm not going to make any money on it. Hey, Texas Sunshine, and as much as I love coming and hanging out with you guys, believe it or not, this is what I do for a job. This is becoming a very odd case. We are getting to the point where for a lot of people, this is going to become boring and they're going to peel off and start watching something else, right? Until Busby comes out with something really salacious about, the next horrific set of accusations that the diddler is accused of, right? Because what we're about to get into now is the legal ease part of this case. We're going to get into the legal haranguing. Hey, Ori Schwartz, and there's going to be a lot of legal haranguing. When you have, as a lot of you probably know, on my bank robbery case, the attorney who was representing me was also in love with me. We had a relationship. I ended up marrying this woman. It's a really different ballgame when your attorney cares about you. I've been in court a lot in my life because I was a screw up, right? I'm a felon. I've been convicted of so many crimes. It's stupid. But I only once did I ever go into court with an attorney that absolutely had my best interest at heart. And this wasn't a job anymore. This was something that really meant a lot to this person. And it's a different ballgame. I would imagine that it's the same feeling when you got $1 billion to back up your legal defense. But right now, on both of these scumbags' parts, we're watching the legal haranguing. With Voldemort, Bebe's husband, they're trying to get the case thrown out. And I talked about this last night. I hope you caught it. But even if he's successful, if he goes in there and he gets the judge to say, yeah, you're right. This person said it was a 20-minute ride from where the award ceremony was, and 20 minutes in any direction is going to take you outside of Manhattan. There's no way in hell this could be Manhattan. It was filed as a New York crime. Yeah, well, I'm gonna throw this out. Right? That's a possibility. If that happens, there is nothing to stop our friend from Texas, Mr. Busby, from refiling the case the following day. Hey, Charlie Muffins, what's up, my brother? A perfect example of why I scream out to people in the chat if you don't like it. Charlie has been with me since before I started this channel, when I was just a dude on YouTube leaving comments on Chase the Heat channel. Charlie hit subscribe. He was the first subscriber that I have ever had. He's been with me the entire time. And you know what? The dude's a rock star. Hey, Kathy, my audience. Most people know most of the people in my audience. They're rock stars, been around a long time. They're very much a part of the show. We look forward to hearing the things that they have to say and what they weigh in on. Hey, Bruce Bank, Brock Bandy, good to see you. What's happening? These are the kind of things that will keep me doing that. So Voldemort is trying to get this thing thrown out, knowing full well they can refile it the following day by just making the amendments. Hey, my bad. This was actually done in Jersey. Let me refile that. Get it? It doesn't matter. So if he gets this tossed out on a technicality, all it's going to do is make him look more guilty, in my humble opinion. Most people who are going to watch this are going to go, you need to get this tossed out. Why? Because this was 400 yards outside of the city limit, or this was time barred by 40 days. The purpose of the law that they're citing was to give people an opportunity to not get time barred out, to not have the statute of limitations keep you from getting justice that you seek. If 63% of people who are S8 or R worded do not report it, 63%, then there needs to kind of be something like this, a law set up, because very often these are minors when they are attacked. And it takes a long time for most people who are victims to become survivors. It takes a long time for most people to get through that process. And very often in that process, they get to a point where they feel confident enough or strong enough or driven enough to finally step forward and say, I want to take the accuser down. I mean, I want to take the person that did this to me down. I want to file a lawsuit. I want to take them to court. I want to do whatever. Usually it's too late to take them to court criminally, but civilly, they're doing this through the Southern District of New York. This isn't this kind of haranguing, this kind of chess match that we're seeing played out in court is going to be boring to all but the law nerds. But on the Diddy case, if you're a law nerd, what's happening right now is fascinating. Diddy's legal team wants a speedy trial, right? And we are protected in the Constitution from them throwing you in prison and going, yeah, well, it took us 14 years to put the case together. It's not our fault, right? It's a very complicated case. There's a lot of stuff that we got to look at. A lot of, I almost went Big Lebowski on. It's kind of a complicated case here, man. A lot of whatnots, a lot of what have yous. But seriously, this is one of those situations where his attorney uses the Constitution to say, this guy's got a right to a speedy trial. He's innocent and he's sitting in prison. You're not giving him bail. We want the fastest trial we can get. That date is Cinco de Mayo, right? May 5th is the day that we're going to allegedly, is the day that we're going to see this thing go to trial. Now, that being the case, that was the first salvo in the chess match. That was his attorney saying to, and I'm sure he talked to his client, but what he said was, we don't want to give these people more time to put their case together. We want to make the prosecution, who now has all of this stuff, we want to make them go through it like this. Call all of those witnesses, depose all those people, do everything they got to do. The more we force them to go fast, the safer we're going to be. That's the mindset of his legal team. Congratulations to you and Reese on your engagement, and thank you for your informative content. Well, you are very, very welcome. I love doing what I do here. I really do. It's a great audience, Yvette. It really is. It's a great Tommy. I got it. I figured that out. You're good. It's a great audience. I couldn't be happier. Lori Abs, how are you? And I'm going to talk to them forever. You know, I get emails from people that say it's keeping you from growing. Well, I don't think so, honestly. And if I'm going to grow twice as fast, but I got to not hang out and say things to my audience, I'll just slow down. I'm not in that much of a hurry. And the people that say, the woman literally said in this comment, this is why you're not successful. And we define success differently. The lifeboat's killing it. I couldn't be any happier with where the boat is. Lady Warrior, how are you? Literally couldn't be any happier with where the boat is. I always knew the disgustingness of the entertainment business, and I'm surprised they're trying to hold someone accountable. I think a lot of people feel this way. And this is not a slam on anybody here, because we are a little bit smarter than the average bear, and we're not the average audience either. But do you know what? We've all been a part of this. to some degree, everybody has allowed this to go on, right? I mean, Corey Feldman, whether you like Corey Feldman or not, I pick on Feldman constantly because he's so much fun to pick on. You know, the guy thinks he's Michael Jackson, and he's been going to like rock and roll band camp that he's been paying for the last, I don't know how many decades. I find that kind of humorous. But his story's horrific, right? He was a young boy in Hollywood that was passed around, according to him, he was passed around to a lot of executives. So were a lot of other youngsters. We've known about this forever, right? Literally, Feldman's been talking about this for the vast majority of my adult life, 3 decades and some change. But we go to the movies that are made by the same scumbags, right? We go to these films knowing full well that, well, that director's been accused of this, this, or this, but he was never convicted or whatever. If you continue to buy the product of a bad human being, you're endorsing that person's behavior. For real. And we have allowed them to continually do the foulest stuff on earth, right? To our kids, to our society. And not just the assaults and all that, but on top of that, we've allowed them to shape, right? We allow them to shape what we think, what we look at, what our kids look at. Man, if you take nothing away from this case at all, but take away that clip of film, right? That one little spot where the diddler gets up and says, "We're after your souls," right? We tell you what's cool. If that doesn't make you throw up in your mouth, you're on the wrong channel. But we're going to tell you what's cool. We determine what you listen to, what kind of music you like, what you're singing along to, how you wear your clothing. If you're sagging your pants or your kids are, that's us. I don't know about you, but as a parent, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Thank you so much, Kay Thompson. I appreciate you. I really do. But you understand where we're going? This is spiraling the drain in society, but in court, right? In court, the diddler can't stand on the case. Yeah. As a public speaker, when I was first trained, my boss said, if somebody in the audience asks a question and you don't know the answer to it, answer it different. Just give them an answer to a question they didn't ask. Like straight up, just answer it differently. And politicians do it all the time, right? Politicians do it all the time. You ask them something about the southern border and they go, with the tax structure being the way it is, and they peel off and talk about some other bullshit. And by the time they're done talking, you kind of forgot what the hell you were asking them anyway. Right? Smoke and mirrors. This is what the attorneys intend to do with this case. They can't stand on the merits of it, right? Because allegedly, of the 250 people that are watching right now, there's a decent chance at least one of them was probably assaulted by this guy, right? The numbers, how prolific a serial, I don't know what I can call him and not get demonetized. But somebody that had just spent an entire lifetime. Diddy and I are the same age. And right around the time we graduated high school, allegedly, he began to assault people using chemicals. About the time I graduated high school, people. Get a look at this. Does it look like I got out of high school recently? Huh? This dude has been doing this forever. And not only has he been doing it? He's been doing it flagrantly. He's done it while getting ridiculously wealthy, right? And bragging and being in our face and being on talk shows and talking about how great his parties are and talking about how, well, if they won't give me a permit to have these parties, well, then they're going to have to come and arrest me because having fun is that important in this guy's life. And we just sort of watched it and joked about it, didn't we? And then we bought the albums and our kids bought the albums or downloaded the music. Award ceremonies, right? The simple act of tossing on the Grammys and spending 2 hours. I am so guilty of this. I will put that stuff on. Now it's been I can't watch anything anymore because of my brain, but I used to watch this crap religiously. And if you were to ask me what I was doing, I would say to you, I hate this. I don't like the music. I don't like the artist. I'm watching this, right? For laughs. No joke, right? There was a guy that had a website a while ago, and he used to pay me if I could spot fake watches worn by anybody at award ceremonies. And sometimes, believe it or not, people, it's that easy. And one day he was asking me to do it for the Yo MTV Raps thing. And the first cat they had on the red carpet was walking up for the interview, and as he's talking to the woman, all animated as hell like this, the crystal and the bezel fell off his Rolex, his fake Rolex. It was absolutely classic. It was just one of those moments that was really rich. But that's why I watched, right? Who cares why I watched? Because what I'm doing is I'm telling Nielsen, I'm into it. I'm into it. The people at the Nielsen's, right, who rate these programs, they don't know that I'm at home going, right? This is the same principle as those of you who go over and watch Trolls. I get it. You do whatever you do. I'm not a guy that goes and boots people off or whatever because you're over watching. I don't give a crap what you're watching. But on the Lifeboat, we talk a lot about garbage in and garbage out, right? We got to be really careful where we spend our money. And you go, I'm not spending money. The hell you're not, right? The hell you're not. Right now, you are paying me, whether you realize that or not. Right now, you are supporting my channel by sitting here and watching me. This view is how I pay the bills. So when there's hundreds of people that watch this, this is my business model. There are people whose business model it is to say horrible things about people, make it up, whatever they got to do. The more salacious, the better, because people will watch hate, probably more likely than they'll watch love. Sadly, that's the truth, right? Okay. We've been keeping these scumbags alive forever. And the diddler finds himself in a very unusual place where he can no longer pull those strings. Yeah? He can't make a video. He can't come out and do the damage control that he thinks he's damn good at, right? He has managed to stay alive as a criminal for 3 decades and a violent criminal. Like I stole for decades. I was a thief. But this person was injuring people every day. And when you have victims, the fact that you can stay doing this for even a year is remarkable. But to be able to do it for decades, leaving hundreds, if not thousands of victims in your wake. And I don't just mean people that he essayed, because there's a lot of them, or people that he harassed. Right? There's a lot of people that he just pushed up on. Maybe it didn't rise to the level of assault, but he's pulling his junk out. He's talking filthy around them. He's making them come and deal with him as he's stepping out of the shower in business, right? Because what businessman doesn't walk around with his dong hanging out, right? For the early morning business meeting. Dude's such a lowlife. Now, he can't do any of these things. He can't sway public opinion. He can do nothing. His Instagram's being run by his kids, who, let's be real honest, aren't about to split an atom. So all he's got left now is taking his money and having high dollar mouthpieces try to change what this case is about, right? The first salvo of this chess match was in the very beginning, when they seemed to shove all of their chips into the middle of the table to try to get Diddy out, right? It didn't seem like they were cared about anything other than his bail. And of course, we know what happened there, right? 3 judges all shot it down. He doesn't get bail. Then there seems to be kind of a shift. He got a little bit of a win in court when this is just recently, by the way, the judge, Arun Subramanian, came out and said, I want some more information about this because Diddy's team has maintained that when they went into MDC Brooklyn and started snapping photos of all of the stuff that he had that was legal paperwork, that they were violating the attorney-client privilege. And there's a bunch of people who are making videos that are saying, this is going to be what gets the trial thrown out. This is going to be a mistrial in the Diddy case because the prosecution has done something so egregious. They have gone and actually looked at private conversations or private correspondence between attorney and client. This is sacrosanct. This is not something you can do. This literally could get something thrown out. And people are panicking about this. That's not what's going to happen. The fact that the judge said, okay, I want some more information. He did a 2.5-hour bail hearing, right? He wanted to know the people that were going to be guarding Sean Diddy Combs. Were these former agents? How long did they work there? How are they going to be paid? Sounded sure as hell to everybody, right? All the pundits came out. Oh, they're letting them out this time. This is a lock. And here on the Lifeboat, we came out and went, no, they're not letting them out. Subramanian's making sure that no matter what the hell happens, that he's not going to get reversed on appeal. You do know, if you research this cat, he's not done any trials like this. Do you know that? right? Subramanian, this is his first go around of this kind of high profile criminal trial. He does a lot more of civil kind of stuff. And he has been almost like anal retentive with everything he's done. He's been very methodical, it seems, to write opinions on everything. He's making it. He was so damn thorough. He's a good man and thorough. He was so thorough with the bail hearing that the Diddlers team pulled their appeal back from the Second Circuit. That's kicking ass and taking names if you're if you're a judge, because the Diddlers people are not afraid to spend money, but they're not even going to waste their time on the appeal because he covers things so thoroughly. Well, that's exactly what's happening with this client privilege BS. Look, we already know that the word legal was written on the top after the fact. They got caught for that, right? We already know that. But aside from that, let's just say for craps and giggles, right? Let's just say for hold on one second. Sorry, people. Comment. Okay. So this is all he's got, right? Literally all he's got is his attorneys trying to muddy the waters and trying to make this case about something other than what this case is about. They're going to try playing every single technical game that you can. And this speedy trial was the first salvo, right? They were going to try to force the prosecution to have to do this at a speed they didn't want to. And make no mistake, the prosecution would like a year, maybe more, right? They would like all the time possible to put this together. They're not sitting in jail. They're going home every night. They can watch football games. They can have Thanksgiving and Christmas. So they're not in a hurry. But the Diddy team forcing a speedy trial is making it hard on the prosecution. Now, as far as chess goes, a superseding indictment, right? That's a big chessboard move right there. And there's a lot of people that have said, pundits, myself, a lot of YouTubers, we know the grand jury was meeting. And a grand jury will indict what? A ham freaking sandwich. So you don't think they got some indictments that could be coming out of what they were talking about with the Diddler? Of course they do. Thank you so much. You are looking fantastic in green. You really are. That's your color. Stick with it. It's a good color for it. The Diddler's got his people playing this game, right? And the prosecution is playing it back. So now Diddy's team is yelling, whoa, you want to give us the enterprise letter. The enterprise letter is exactly that. It is going to describe the criminal enterprise, the recurring criminal enterprise that is Sean Combs and Bad Boy. This is going to be all of the people that we want to hear, right? Who's this list of co-conspirators? Well, as of March 7th, they have to turn that over. Now, the defense, who said, hey, we want a speedy trial. And I mean speedy. Get that thing going. They're saying 2 months isn't enough time, right? You're not giving us enough time. The prosecution should have to give us their letter, right? They should have to tell us what this entire case is going to be about sooner, right? In the legal world, of course, this is wanting to have your cake and then chow down on it as well. You screamed for a speedy trial, right? And when it was granted and you got a very fast trial, I mean, from a federal standpoint, to be arrested in September and go to court in May. Do you remember in the beginning when people were saying the predictions of how long this was going to take? And professionals, right, pundits were saying 2 years. And I was saying that I think that my prediction was I thought they were going to want to go for a speedy trial. But I thought that in July, they'd be picking jury, right? I was probably one of the more ambitious in terms of those predictions. To be really honest, I probably was doing it a little bit like the game show where you go $1 because everybody else went super high or whatever. But this is a chess match, and it is a chess match that both sides, I think that when this is all said and done, right, if you're into law, the next 4 months are going to be fascinating. They're going to have to file all of this is why the defense is losing their feces on this. If you get the enterprise letter, let's think about it in terms of the entire case instead of a letter. But if you get your entire case delivered to you on March the 7th and you got until May the 5th, anything you see in there, right, you're supposed to have all of your motions filed months before. But if you don't know what the case is, right, how are you going to file motions if you don't know exactly what their theory of the case is at all? Like, they know what the 3 charges are, but as the intelligent audience of the Lifeboat has said on so many occasions, RICO is not usually something one person is charged with. So where are all of these other co-conspirators? Well, we're going to find out on March the 7th. We're going to find out who all of these co-conspirators are. Now, as the defense, you think to yourself, oh, I should have filed a motion, right, to try to restrict yada, yada, yada because of yada, yada. But you don't know any of this until all of those motions would have already had to be in. This confusing ass chess game. And they brought it on themselves. How do you scream, hey, this isn't fair, when you were granted your speedy trial? You're the one that wanted this. Are you getting it? This is going to play out, and it's going to be, I think, this is my humble opinion, I think they're looking right now for appellate issues. I think all of this, everything they're doing is because they've already known, they're aware of the fact that they've already lost this case. I think that they're working on the appeal from jump, right? From the word go, they're already working on the appeal for this because there's no way they win. Sorry, there's no way. How can you win? How can you win? Normally, in any other case, we would hear this. There are 3 charges against Sean Combs. He's sitting in MDC Brooklyn. That's it. That's it. Now we go home and we wait. And this is why stuff like Epstein happens, because we can very easily forget that this is even going on, right? Now you got people like me that talk about this every single day, and there are the cynics among you will say something along the lines of, well, it's for clicks. Whatever. If it wasn't this, I'd be getting clicks talking about some other crime. But the purpose of this one, the reason that we're talking about this constantly is because, as I have said, from the very first day we started talking about this case after Sean Combs was arrested officially, we got railroad tracks, right? We have a criminal prosecution going on in the Southern District of New York against Mr. Combs. And then we've got 100+ cases, almost all out of the Southern District of New York, that are running at the same time. And these are civil actions. The civil actions, we're getting to hear a hell of a lot more about than we ever would hear about the criminal stuff. So this is keeping the imagination of all of the people who are following this locked on. If this was just Diddy going to court, we wouldn't know what he allegedly did to the guy from Mark Echo at the Macy's flagship store in New York, right? We wouldn't know about the kid that went to the Hamptons white party, the very first one back in 1998. This is the kid that Diddy said, all right, take your pants off. Let's see what you're working with. Right? And then fondled a boy not yet a teenager and then sodomized them. These stories, as horrific as they are, right? These stories that are coming out every 2 weeks, sometimes every 10 days or every 5 days or whatever. These stories that are being bled out from different law firms that are bringing these cases are keeping this in the zeitgeist, right? We're all talking about this constantly. We would not be, I promise you. If the civil cases weren't breaking, then we wouldn't have anything to talk about. Because I promise you, the prosecution isn't trying to let their case in chief get out. I mean, not only does it not play out for them to be doing this in the media, it's going to piss off Judge Subramanian and all of that. He has admonished them already about spending too much time talking, right? But aside from that, this is a chess match. And holding on to exactly what you're going to lay out as your case in chief. Laying all of that out ahead of time, they got no desire to do that. They want to hold these cards as close to their chest as they can until right before this thing drops. They don't want to give this high-dollar defense team any more time than necessary to prepare for this trial. Now, just pretend with it for a hot second that this guy's guilty as sin. and that everything Sean Combs has been accused of, he's actually done. You got any idea how difficult it is to put a defense together when you're sitting there in jail going, could be any number of women. I've assaulted hundreds of them, right? These Jane Doe accusations, they need the name. You understand why they need the name so badly? Because there are so many people that he's victimized. He can't narrow it down. It's terrifying, right? But it's a fact. He can't narrow it down to dozens. He might not be able to narrow it down to hundreds. Who knows? But you know, there's really this push to, and they even said it, like the verbiage, hey, there's no way we can defend ourselves against these people if we don't know their names. If your defense is, I have never R-worded anybody, it'd be a hell of a lot easier, wouldn't it? This is going to get real weird real fast, right? We're in January. We've got the entire month of February, a short month. And then the first week in March, this case is going to get dumped on the defense. And then the next thing you know, we are going to be going to court on this unless amidst this chess game, right? The prosecution pops off with a superseding indictment. This is a cool thing. This is actually a fairly cool thing. Now, we can be a cynic on this, right? ASAP Lizzie, we can be a cynic and we can say the people who are discussing this are doing it because they're getting clicks, right? If you can work Diddy into a story, you're going to build your channel because a lot of people want to hear, sadly, the salacious details of the most recent R word. In fact, like if you watch this video versus other videos, now granted, I go really early in the morning on this particular one, but we got up above 400 and it starts dropping down to 350, which honestly doesn't happen on the boat very often. We're pretty good at keeping the audience. The problem is we're now talking about some of the nuts and bolts, the issues of this, the legalese. That's not what anybody's hanging around for. And that's as gross as it is. That's also fantastic because law nerds like us, like the people that are sticking around and talking about the ins and outs of this, crime, true crime people, this is a wild case, right? But for people that don't dig true crime, it's that salacious crap. It's how many people could he possibly have done this to, right? What was going on behind the voyeurism, right, of us wanting to know about these freak-offs? The fact that we're all waiting to hear who the other big names are. This will not die for that reason. Diddy is screwed, right? Because he's the Jeffrey Epstein that's not dead. And you know what I'm saying? Epstein died in drug use. There's the term, nose wide open, right? It means that the person very badly wants to get a buzz on, right? Like he was just sitting there with his nose wide open. But this is one of those situations currently, right? Where the entire society is sitting there, nose wide open for the next little bit of info that's going to tell us that Jamie Foxx was playing naked basketball. Loser takes it up the tailpipe. Or Kevin Hart, right? We want to allegedly hear that Kevin Hart didn't get any of the accolades or any of the job or any of the stuff that he's got done. That didn't get because of talent, right? We all know what Cat Williams said. We want to know about the egg. By the way, it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't. But this stuff is so salacious that it's going to bring in a lot of people who are going to have a lot of conversations that they normally wouldn't have. And I promise you, that's what this needs right now more than anything in the world, right? We have been a society, especially here in the United States, that turned away. We don't care. That's Hollywood. Those people live in a completely different. We say Holly weird, right? And we joke. You know, they eat a lot of sushi. They do a lot of yoga, and they're really weird in their sexual proclivities or whatever. But we've been cool with that. Right? We have been. We've been cool with that because they're our royalty, right? Other countries have royalty. We got Hollywood. And I wholeheartedly believe that we're at the end of this run. Somebody asked a question in a live I did the other day, which I thought was fascinating. They said, do you think then that 2025 is the year that we stop worshiping these kind of individuals? Is this the year where because somebody is an actor or because somebody is a musician or because somebody can throw a ball through a hoop or whatever, we're going to elevate this person to some kind of freaking status that makes them more important than other people? I don't believe that that's going to change in 2025. It's just such an ingrained part of our culture now, and this is worldwide, right? There are very famous footballers, right? That would be the European kind of footballers. That, hey, Lisa Trimble, that live pretty wild lives. Can we get some thoughts and prayers for Lisa Trimble, please? Says going through it again. Well, I know how those mornings can be. So I've got a bunch of stuff that I am going to be doing today. Felon Tavius. Well, how about that? Yeah, you're right. There are people all over the U.S. that are worshiping these booty goons. Yeah, this is really an issue. And the saddest part is this. There really are people out there now who are hearing this and going, yeah, you know what? I'd take that egg. I'm not kidding, right? I saw a really crazy video on, now I don't go over to the other platform, but I saw a video that was being played on YouTube, but it was a TikTok video. And it was a person, it was a youngster, and he said, oh man, I'd take that egg. Kind of money that these guys are getting, right? You could do that. It's amazing to me that with these stories coming out, there are a group of people out there that today would line up at Diddy's door, knowing full well what they know now, would line up at his door or the other Sean's door or anyone else's, because you know what, man? Selling your soul, I mean, you get to be a rock star. You know, when you hear people say they sold their soul to the devil, there are people that believe that that contract actually exists, that there are people who are signing on the dotted line and literally giving up their souls. And there are people who think it's a figure of speech, meaning that all of the stuff that you believe in, you toss out the window for fame and fortune. And guess what? It doesn't matter. Not to me, it doesn't. It doesn't matter whether or not that's the real deal or whether it's this metaphorical thing, because either way, it's exactly what you're doing. And there are always going to be people, right, waiting to be the next ass to sign that contract. If you believe it's a literal thing, right, then you've read The Devil and Daniel Webster, or you've read any other Faustian stories about cutting a deal with the devil. They always know what the deal is. He's not tricking them, right? I'm going to give you everything you ever wanted, but I'm going to need your everlasting soul. And the people in the stories, inevitably, like Diddy and all of these other people, these, what did you call them? Booty whackers, booty man. All of these people knowingly make this decision, this Faustian deal, this deal with the devil. It's not done in the dark, right? I mean, it's always done in the dark, but it's not done without the awareness of what they're doing. Going down to the crossroads. You guys know that tune, don't you? There have been people talking about musicians making deals with the devil, going back to Robert Johnson, right? The guy that went down to the crossroads and had the devil tune his guitar for him, right? Or the book Hammer of the Gods, written about the iconic band of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I guess, Led Zeppelin. In the book Hammer of the Gods, they say that they sold their soul to Satan to be the biggest rock band ever, and that their deal was one of them was going to die within the next period of time of cutting the deal, and of course that was John Bonham. You can read this book. It isn't written. I don't know how to explain the book because it's written as if it's just absolute facts. It's a very, very odd book. Yeah, if this is going to change, right? If this is going to change, it's going to change because we won't put up with it anymore. There are always going to be people who will take their right hand and grab their left ankle and bend over and allow whatever needs to be done to them to get rich. There are men who are straight, right, that will get on their knees to service another man if it means they're going to get a contract. Tell you what, just grind it out, folks. Go grind it out. Go work your ass off, right, and be successful. And if you are, it will feel so much better that you got there actually earning it, right? But if this changes, it's going to change because people will always be out there ready to sell their soul. But if we're not ready to buy their albums, how much are they going to pay for that kid's soul? If we stop engaging in the foolishness that funds all this, if an actor has to get on his knees in order to get a role in a film, but we just quit watching films, right? I don't think they're going to get on their knees for fun. I don't know, who knows? Maybe. But these deals with the devil get to be a whole lot harder if there's nobody there to pay off. And my suggestion would be that we stop being the people that pay it off, right? I say this all the time on the boat, but they're partying on our money. Hey, Trixie, they're partying on our money. Well, they're not partying on my money. They're really not. This is something that I became hyper focused on a while ago, and I'm lucky. I'm willing to admit this, right? Lucky as it relates to a boycott of sorts. I have a very serious traumatic brain injury, and if I watch a film I've never seen before, right? We don't really see a movie, right? You see a movie, but it's not a movie. It's thousands of pictures, right? Spliced together so fast with a soundtrack and some reverb, and so that your brain assembles that into something that looks as if we're witnessing it. That's not how we watch things. We don't go like this, right? We are a one camera system. I can watch things on television. I can watch documentaries. I can watch things that are filmed with one camera. If the scene is filmed with 25 or 30 cameras and they're editing all of that together, I will get a migraine in a matter of minutes. So it's gotten a lot easier for me to not watch anything modern at all. But you know what? Some of the old stuff too. But the way I look at it now, to boycott completely would mean zero entertainment, right? The way I do it is this: if I'm going to watch it, I watch it on YouTube, right? This is where I get my entertainment, and 99 out of 100 things that I watch are documentaries. If I watch a film, I watch them with quibs. I have to watch a film I've already seen. That's the only option for me, because my brain doesn't have to reassemble or doesn't have to assemble something. It already knows what it's assembling, if that makes sense. But I can watch films that I've seen in the past and it doesn't hurt. Lady Warrior. Not topic. I'm glad you are clean and walking a straight path now. Sometimes it takes people like you to tell the truth for me personally to believe it. You know what? Thank you, Lady Warrior. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You know what's kind of funny? It was that way for me, right? I've been to $1,000 a day rehabs, right? Paid for by my boss. I have gone through every single attempt that somebody could make to try to help you get sober. I did rapid opiate detox, where they knock you out, remove all of the dope from your system instantly, right? Narcan the hell out of you while you're asleep, and then bring you to. I've done Ibogaine a couple of times. All of the different things that you can do to try to get off dope or to go through therapy or any of those. And I'm talking about people with that many initials after their names, right? They're PhDs and MDs and a black high school dropout, the most intelligent man I've ever met. A black high school dropout got me sober. And if he didn't speak the language that he spoke and the way that he spoke it, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. It's a ripple that came off of the best man I've ever met. He went to court yesterday. I have spoken to Q, my mentor, and I also spoke to his attorney. And you know what Q said has given me a sense of peace like I've never had. He said, you know what? I don't care what happens. You know, he has filed a lot of his motions on his own in his life, and he said he went into court this time, and he didn't feel like anything was screwed up. Like as he was walking out, he thought to himself, There is nothing we could have done to present this any better than we just did. And he said to me, I said, he said, if it doesn't go, I'm not tripping because we didn't leave anything on the field. It's not like the game is over and you go, oh, if I had done this, he said, there's nothing there like that. So if this one doesn't hit, the next one's going to. This was a great opportunity to see what it's like with a legal team that gives a crap, and he's got a legal team that gives a crap. And you know what? The boat's getting bigger. It is. The boat's getting bigger every day. The number of what we average, views per video is higher than it's ever been. We're really doing pretty consistently well these days, and that's a beautiful thing because the bigger the boat gets, the more money and the more time I can dedicate to trying to get my friend out of prison. And I promise you, like, hear me now, guaranteed he gets out. I promise, because like homeboy says, right? Or I'll die trying, because I'm not going to stop until that happens. Until he can co-host a show sitting with me. DNV, good to see you. How are you? Glad that you're here. Now, this is going to be a short one, people. I have got things. The reason I went really early this morning, twofold, really. I'm probably going to do a midnight show one of these days because I do like giving people who don't normally get an opportunity to catch the boat at normal times. I went live and had, I think, 1,100 people in the live chat because at midnight it's just there's a whole bunch of places that are now seeing me that can't. You know what, Lori, you're going to love him. He has a very soft. He's very soft spoken, but he's got an incredibly funny sense of humor. And he's a dude that, if he was a bitter prick after all the time he's done and all the things that he's been through, it would make a lot of sense, but he's not. He's one of the kindest people you'll ever meet in your life, in spite of all that the world has thrown at him. And I've never once heard him do the woe is me thing, right? He never had a chance, no offense to Mindy, his mom, because she watches the boat religiously, but just, these are facts, right? I was a heroin addict and a bank robber. Those are facts. His mom was addicted to drugs and was a prostitute. Those are facts. It is what it is. She's not now, right? She's sober. She's a survivor, but he had a very tough start to life, but you will never hear him complain about it. He's an ace. So I promise you, people, you'll get a chance to meet him. I'm going to continually, I'm going to do it until we win. No uncertain terms, man. In fact, I am more sure of the fact that he's going to get out of prison than of anything else in my life. I'm not kidding. The rest of it, with all due respect, I love what I do. I would give up every other mission I got. That would be the only one that I wouldn't. All right, people, I am going to be listening in the morning with my coffee. I tell you what, that's the way to do it. I'm going to go get some coffee myself. I've got a lot I got to do. I will have a surprise for everybody this afternoon too. I'm going to go live and a little bit of a surprise. Tommy, did you see the Gene Deal's recent interview with James English, where he spoke about Ashton Kutcher cheating on Demi with Brittany Murphy? That freaked me out. Yeah, I talked about this. I talked about this briefly on a video yesterday. So Gene Deal tells a story about hanging out with Diddy and Ashton Kutcher. And Ashton Kutcher was complaining to Diddy about how paparazzi was always catching him or almost catching him when he was going into the home of Brittany Murphy or her any of the buildings that she had condos at or whatever, apartments at. And he was married to Demi Moore at the time, newlyweds to Demi Moore at the time. And he was really freaked out about getting caught. And they were having a discussion like two philandering pieces of crap would. And as Gene Deal tells the story, Diddy said to him, it's either the doorman at that building or it's somebody on your security team, right? Who's ratting you out to the press, to the paparazzi for money or for whatever. But that's where it's got to be a leak coming out of there. So two dirtbags who cheat on their women having a conversation about how not to get caught by the press cheating on your women. That's a good interview. I thought that was a fairly decent interview that James English did with Gene Deal. And I love Gene Deal. I know that there are some of you that have issues. I really dig Gene Deal. I think he's a good man. I think, like everybody else, he's probably done some stuff he wishes he could take back. We're all those people, right? But I think deep down he's a good man, and there aren't enough of them on planet Earth. So I like Gene. Yeah, it's pretty damn cold here too. I'm going to go out and see what I can do to stay warm. I'll probably grab that Quibs woman. See if that won't help. All right, people. Between now and the next time I see you, do me a favor, reach out and try to save somebody. By the way, Calhoun is feeling better. I think he's going to be doing some sobriety stuff this morning. I really hope so. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and I will see you all later today. God bless.